Something that's important when collecting Lego is space and storage, and that's something I've been working on ever since I got back into collecting Lego. And today I want to take a look at a solution that I've come up with for some of my bigger Star Wars vehicles. This is Chris Collects. Before we get into this video, I just want you to scroll down, hit that subscribe button, click that bell icon to get notified of any future videos. Let's get into it. What's up everyone? Welcome to the very first episode of Collection Corner. Now, this is an interesting first episode for me because I'm not actually taking a look at a specific product that I collect, but more, as you saw in the intro, like a solution to display and store products that I collect. Recently, I picked up this, the Lego Millennium Falcon from The Rise of Skywalker. And this set is really cool. It looks amazing, but I didn't want it just, sat on the surface. Not as if, I didn't want it to look like it wasn't in mid-flight. So I looked up for some display stands, and I found the one that is on here. And these are what I'm going to be talking about. These are acrylic bases for Star Wars in particular, and they're made by a company called Odd Lab or OD Lab. I'll have a link to their eBay store in the description below. But we are going to take a look at the one for the Millennium Falcon, the one for the Slave One. I've got one for the TIE Fighter, one for the Y-Wing, and one for the X-Wing. So we're going to take a look at the Millennium Falcon one first. So here we have the acrylic OD Lab stand for the Millennium Falcon, which, forgive me, I cannot recall the set number, but I'll put the set number on the screen now. This also is a stand that's OD Lab claims works with other Millennium Falcon models as well. I know it works obviously with this one, and I think it works with the Force Awakens one as well. Now, the thing I really like about this stand is firstly, let's move the minifigures out of the way, is the elevation that you get. This is quite high, but not excessively high. And it makes it look exactly how I wanted it, which is that it's in mid-flight. It doesn't look that great from this angle, obviously, because you can see a lot of the underside of the set. But from this angle, this stand looks amazing. And that is the angle I have it displayed in. Now, in terms of installing these stands, so when you buy these stands, they come already pre-built. All you have to do is put the model on the stand, and some are trickier than others to do. This one, for example, if we just take a really quick look underneath, you can see, oh, it's actually detaching. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to flip it round here, and you can see the cannon underneath here. What you have to do actually is remove this like that, and then we can lift the Falcon off and set it down, and you'll see that it's got little 1x1 circular stud pieces, and these are actually official Lego stud pieces that they've molded into the acrylic, as you can see on the back here. So these don't go anywhere. Now, the way to do the Millennium Falcon, and they do provide instructions for you on how to do this, but what you'll want to do is, and they don't suggest taking off the top cannon, but as you can see, I've just knocked off one of its cannons here. I would say take that top cannon off, and the reason being is for this exact reason. These will fall off. So I take the top cannon off, then what you want to do is you want to put it on a soft surface, upside down. You align the stand, so you'd be putting it down like that. You'd align it in correlation with the instructions, and then you could put the cannons back on. Now the quality, these are so sturdy, so safe. I was concerned at first when I saw, oh, looks like a little blemish there. I was concerned at first when I just saw the instructions, because the instructions are literally 2 images with some text, but you'll get it. You'll see how it's supposed to work. And I was a little bit apprehensive on how well they would hold, but I've had stands for my sets now for about 2 weeks, and they're great. They hold it so well. They look amazing. I mean, how can you not love a Rebel emblem that is carved in? Like, that is like a separate piece that they've put into it. It looks so cool. And then some of the stands, they offer a minifigure stand as well, which again, they've made molds with studs, so you can display the minifigures that you get with the set. And like you saw earlier, this literally it just connects like that. It doesn't stay on there. Oh, as you can see, it does not stay on there. I tried to lift that up so you could see it, but yeah, it doesn't connect to it. But obviously when you've got it on display, you don't need it to connect to it. It still looks just as good. So that is the stand for the Millennium Falcon. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring out the 2 big Rebel starships, the Y-Wing and the X-Wing, and we're going to take a look at those stands. And here we have our 2 Rebel ships. Well, I mean, technically Resistance, Rebellion. And these are for the, this is for the Resistance Y-Wing set, and this is for the 2018 X-Wing, so the bigger one, not the newer one, although I think the newer one will fit on that stand. So let's take a look at the Y-Wing first. So I'll just move the X-Wing out of the way. So the Y-Wing is a similar deal as the Millennium Falcon in that you have a separate minifigure base. For some reason they always only put one peg here on the front, which is meant for Dio. However, I think Dio looks really strange as the center piece for the display. So that's like one criticism I'd have. I think it's better just to have 2 studs on every bit, but you can have all your minifigures on there, and they look nice. Something I like about these ones, this one, the X-Wing one in particular, more so than the Millennium Falcon one, is the shaping of a Y in the acrylic, and you've got the Y-Wing fighter. So if I just zoom into this stand, you can see there, Y-Wing fighter, and I just think that looks really cool. Again, it's at an angle, this stand, so if we take a back seat, you can see it's designed to look like, again, it's mid-flight, which is what I like from these. Unlike the Millennium Falcon, this one doesn't look too bad from either side. I think it's just the angle that it is put at. Now, in terms of getting this one on its stand, this one is real simple. You literally just have to put it on there. So it does cover up, unfortunately, the bomb dropping play feature, But I mean, if you're displaying it, you're not going to be using the bomb dropping feature anyway. And I would say always remember to put your landing gear in, because it looks a bit strange when it's out on display. I wish I could do that with the Millennium Falcon, but I think really I'm going to have to take the landing gears off if I don't want them on, and that's a bit of a pain. So yeah, so I won't demonstrate putting that one on and off because I think you can see it's quite obvious. And again, never really solid stand. So let's take a look at the X-Wing. So the X-Wing one, I actually think has a slight edge over the Y-Wing one, and that's purely down to the integration of the minifigure studs onto the actual stand itself. So there's no separate minifigure base. You can only buy one stand, and it's this stand that gives you the little minifigure studs, and that's something that when I do the roundup at the end, I'll bring up again. But I've got a bit of a thing about the separate minifigure stand. As nice as it is, I think this design works a lot better. Now, the one drawback you could argue is when you've got Luke and Biggs in their positions, you can't see the word fighter because they are standing in between it. But I don't think that's that big of a deal. And again, much like the Y-Wing, you've got the X shape with the wing and the fighter, which is really, really nice. Let's take R2, and you're gonna have to forgive me, I don't know who this astromech is. If anyone does know who this astromech is, please let me know. I'm sure he does have a name, but I can't remember. I don't have the box to hand to figure that out. And again, if we just turn it upside down, and we can see the way that the stand is placed. So it goes over this little mechanism here, and that mechanism, what that is for on this set, is it puts the wings back when it lands. Obviously you want to have the wings open if you're going to display this, because having the X-Wing in attack mode looks so cool. And again, another solid stand. I don't actually have many criticisms of these stands, and the ones that I do, I'll get into in the little roundup at the end. But I just wanted to give you an actual insight, hands-on to what these stands look like, because to my surprise, there was no videos on these stands on YouTube. There was loads for Wicked Brick, and Wicked Brick makes some really cool stands, but they tend to only show piece count minifigures and set number. But I really like how it says X-Wing Fighter and Y-Wing Fighter. Like I prefer that over having the information. So that's the X-Wing stand. I'll bring out the last two stands. Well, there's three more, so I'll bring out the last three, and that it will be for the TIE Fighter, the Slave One, and the Snowspeeder, which I forgot to mention up top. So I'll bring those out now, and we'll take a look at the last three. Here we have the last three stands in my collection. What I'll do is I'll do this similar thing that I did with the X-Wing and Y-Wing. We'll do a quick look at each one individually, and then I'll give my roundup at the end of this video. So we're going to start with the Slave One because it's the biggest, and much like the Millennium Falcon, it's got an interesting mechanism behind what makes the stand work. So we'll start with Slave One. Here we have the Slave One, and something you can actually do just straight off the bat is, I think that's awesome. You can display this in different angles. So you can either have it dead straight, or how I have it slightly tilted, and that is a really, really, really cool feature. So the way this stand works, and you might look at the back of this and think, what on earth is going on there, and how did I actually attach this stand to the Slave One? Well, this section here is actually a separate piece that hooks on to the stand. So you have this stand and this piece that hooks onto it, and what you do is you attach this piece to the set itself, and then you hook the stand on to the set. And I believe if I go like this, there you go, you can see how that works. It does mean you can't use the built-in Technic handle anymore, but if you're not playing with your Slave 1, if you're not swooshing it about, you're not going to need that Technic handle. And I believe you could remove it as well, but that's a bit of a hassle. And then as you can see, hooks on like that, and it looks great. Now, there was a Minifigure Base add-on for this. I didn't get it. The reason I didn't get it is because it has a space for you to display the 20th anniversary Leia minifigure, and I like to display my 20th anniversary exclusive minifigures together. That's the sole reason I didn't get the Minifigure Base, because the difference in price was like £3. So, it would have made more sense to get the Minifigure Base. But also, where I have this displayed, I don't think the Minifigure Base add-on would have fit. But that's the Slave 1. Next, we're going to look at the Snowspeeder, which is also a 20th anniversary set. So here we have the Snowspeeder. And something I really love about the Snowspeeder stand is, you can see here, it says T-47, which is the model of the Snowspeeders in the Star Wars universe. Much like the other Rebel ships, you got the Rebel emblem in there as well, and it does say Snowspeeder at the top. This again is very, very, very simple to attach. If you look at the bottom here, it's literally just one square, and you just attach it to the bottom of your Snowspeeder, and boom, there you go. And this looks great next to the AT-ATs, because Snowspeeders need to be somewhat elevated off the ground, because it just makes them look so much better. So that is the Snowspeeder stand. Nice and quick, not much to talk about here. This one didn't have a minifigure stand option, doesn't have studs on the base either. I think you might see where my my one major con is with this, with these stands overall. But yeah, nice stand. Love the lettering, love the design. Looks good on the shelf. So let's take a look at the TIE Fighter stand. So last but certainly not least is the TIE Fighter stand. Now this, much like most of the other stands actually, this is compatible with several different models. This is the 75300 model. That's a number I can remember because it's really easy. So this is the newer TIE Fighter, the one that's a bit smaller and more affordable. And I didn't think I needed to get a stand for this, but I think it looked way much better on the stand. My one gripe, well actually my two gripes with this stand is there's an extra minifigure peg, which I know is because this is compatible with other sets that might have more minifigures. But this set only came with 3 minifigures, and I almost wish you could have customizable options to remove things like this, because it's just I don't need it, and it looks a bit odd. And then the other thing, as much as I love the Imperial Emblem here and the TIE Fighter lettering, it's the only one where they didn't colour it in black, and I don't know why. It makes it look really weird in comparison to the others, and it's just a strange choice they made. And if we move the minifigures, you've got a nice little image of the TIE Fighter there as well. But I think because it's, white, it can be quite hard to see at times as well. It's just a very interesting choice on their part, because otherwise, other than that, this stand looks amazing. And one of my favourites. I mean, look at that detail. They've even, left. They've actually cut out the middle part of the logo. The only thing I can think of as to why they didn't do this is maybe I think the Imperial Emblem might be a white logo. I'd have to double check that. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, really cool stand overall. And it fits in with the rest. So, let's get to the overview. So, what do I make of the OD Lab stands? Well, obviously if you were watching the whole video, I love them. I think they make really great display solutions for a lot of the larger Star Wars sets. And I used to have these sets on top of my Blu-rays, which always looked a bit odd, and they were always a bit hidden. And it was nice to get them actually out on display. I really wish they made some for Marvel sets, because I've got the Ultimate Quinjet and the Black Widow helicopter that I'd love to display properly, not just keep on top of my Blu-rays like they are. So it's a shame that they only make Star Wars stands. So I just want to get into the quick pros and cons. And I'll probably do a little graphic here with pros and cons. So pros. Look great. High quality acrylic. They display really well. And for the most part, they look like they were made by the same company. So they're quite uniformed and they look like they belong together. So if you had them all in a row, they should all look like they belong together. Cons. Not all stands have minifigure base options. Some stands that don't have minifigure base options have minifigure studs built into the stands, but not all of them, which is very strange. And sometimes they don't quite match. I'm looking at you, TIE Fighter stand. Those are my 3 cons. Now, something I haven't talked about as well is pricing. Pricing varies. These aren't very expensive. Like if you buy one on its own, like the Millennium Falcon stand was about 15 quid with the minifigure base. The Snowspeeder stand was about 10. The X-Wing stand was 12. The Y-Wing stand was 10. The TIE Fighter stand was about 10. The Slave 1 stand was about 15. So individually, they're not too expensive. Now, if you're like me and you decide, right, I want to display this, I want to display that, and you want to display loads of them, it's quite pricey. I've got about 90 quid into these stands. But they are one-time purchases. Once you buy a stand for a set, you're not going to need to buy another stand. Unless you decide to go for maybe a display case. Like Wicked Brick do display cases. And I did look at a display case for a Millennium Falcon, but it was 80 quid. And I thought, I'll just get a stand. Because obviously the one benefit to a display case is if you get the right one, they should be airtight and it would keep the dust off the set, which, you know, saves so much time, because dusting Lego is a nightmare, and that might be a topic for a later video. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed this content, I would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button, and make sure you hit that bell icon to get notified of any future videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.